Winter time too much. Too many things going on. We may, if we get a break in the weather, I make it up. We'll get a break. Yeah.
Good to go, Mr. Chairman.
All set? I'd like to call the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for 5 January 2024. Everybody please rise and pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic
which stands
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This will be roll call of all commissioners.
Commissioner Claffey,
Here.
Commissioner Minor.
He's going to join us on Zoom, I believe.
Okay. Commissioner Nafis,
There.
Commissioner Payne,
Here.
Commissioner Pascarelli,
Here.
Chairman Sobieski,
Here.
Commissioner Woods,
Here.
Commissioner Droz,
Here.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Here.
You're all set.
We have no vacancies, so we're not going to seat any alternates tonight. Okay, next we approval of the agenda, Mr. Planner.
Agenda.
Sorry?
I said there are no changes to the agenda.
Very good. All right, next is going to be public participation, but the secretary will read the rules.
Public participation for items not listed on the agenda. Speakers limited to
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Within the Zoom application, raise your hand if you would like to participate during public participation. If calling into Zoom meeting by telephone, dial *9 to raise your hand and be recognized. Use *6 when recognized to speak by telephone. State your name and address for the record.
Toll-free number.
Toll-free number is 833-548-0276 or 833-548-0282.
Okay, open up with public participation. Anybody wishing to talk to the public? 2 minutes, you're limited to 2 minutes. And items that are not on the agenda. Anybody wishing to come forward?
Nobody has their hand raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. The zoning officer's report.
Any questions from anyone?
Commissioner, I have a question, Chairman.
For the new members,
I'm sorry. Yes, Commissioner Claffey.
1934 Main Street, that's been going on for, I don't know, 6, 7 months now. Now I noticed he put a fence up around his house.
put a fence up, yes.
There's still about 20 cars in the back, and tires and.
Last time I was there was, I believe, 8 cars. They all had plates on them.
He's still doing work on them as a garage?
They say they have 4 or 5 people living in the house that each have a car. They were working on one car when I was there. We had the conversation. Also spoken to the property owner who does not live in the state as well, and he reached out to them as well.
All right. Are they still working on cars on the weekends? Have them up on jacks and tires out? I mean, the whole back right of the property is littered with tires. So, all right, thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Remarks by commissioners. Any remarks by commissioners at this time? Okay. First public hearing, Mr. Planner.
So that's the public hearing for petition 2723, the special permit and site plan for a restaurant with an accessory drive-through at 79 East Cedar Street, aka 6379 East Cedar Street, in the BTZ zone, Business Town Center Zone, and Town Center Village Overlay District. Applicant Cedar Street LLC, owner Newington Sovereign Bank Plaza LLC. Contact Carrie Gagnon, So this was on the public hearing was held at the last meeting. It was left open. The applicant has submitted updated plans. I believe they will present their changes to you tonight. On what they have changed, they did add a pedestrian access way. Staff does have some pictures to share afterwards, just two brief ones to kind of discuss that. But I think the applicant could give their presentation, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Address for the record, please. Thank you.
66 Cedar Street, Suite 300B, Newington, Connecticut. Thank you. So I want to start with a couple of the questions that you, Commissioner, and the commission had last week, or 2 weeks ago. So we did meet with a trash company, and the circulation on the property is fine. The dumpster where we're putting it is good. We might need, I think right now we proposed what?
We propose an 8x16 pad for the dumpster.
Yeah, so we might have to go 8x18 because we want to put a column in the center, so to have 4 doors. And we are proposing, as the rest of the dumpsters in the center of town, enclosures. We're actually proposing brick because it'll match the building. All the ones in the center of town are block or cinder block or block. So we are proposing chain link gates in the front with the slats, only because they're very, very adjustable. And those things get hit all the time by garbage trucks, right? So my maintenance guy probably adjusts 2 or 3 of those a week in my stores. So we want to be able to have the chain link gates on. The rest of it will be match the building with brick and AZAC. So we're hoping to get that accomplished. The menu boards, we're going to leave it exactly where we had originally proposed. It's going to be your typical Dunkin' Donuts menu board. And on the bottom left-hand side is a white verification. So when you place an order, the order taker asks the customer to please take a look at the verification. Make sure it's the right order. The price is there. Please pull up to the window. So that comes up in white. So there's no lighting there that bothers anything. And I know lighting was a big question, and you'll speak to that a little bit more, but we verified the heads of the poles that are missing for lighting, and we can get them. So we're going to leave the lighting exactly the way it is. We're going to stay with gooseneck lighting on the building. There will be no change in any of the lighting. All the lights will function. We did meet with, there was a question on the other tenants, and we did meet with the other tenants. One opens the nail salon opens at 10 or 11? 11. So no issue there because 11 o'clock, we're down 80%. Met with the other 2 tenants. The Subway is averaging 5 people per hour peak business in the morning. So that's not going to affect anything either. So those are my notes that I had. Oh, and the easement. Good catch on the easement. There was an easement there, and it was a temporary easement for permitting. Once the permits were pulled and the work was complete, the easement went away. We have a copy of that also. Right? Okay. Did I explain that properly?
Yeah, it's a permanent easement for highway purposes, so.
Permitted.
It's permanent for highway.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not temporary.
So it says right in here that
Temporary easement.
said right of entry shall terminate automatically upon completion of said work by the state.
Right. So once the work was completed, the easement went away. So as far as insurance goes, it's going to be up to the property owner, which will be me to ensure. That was a good question. Caught me by surprise a little bit because I didn't know there was an easement.
You understand, my concern was, somebody falls,
Who's insuring it?
that's it.
Really?
You know, I got you. I was happy to find out that it was temporary and it will be insured. We already contacted our insurance company and they're well aware of it, so. A couple of things, notes from staff I just received tonight, and a couple of things. The concern is that where we put the sidewalk, the additional sidewalk, and the little patio to sit 3 tables, where the sidewalk meets the building, there's an outside column. We might need to shift the sidewalk a little bit to accommodate someone to get through there a little easier. So we'll work with the town engineer on that. No problem. Lighting, I've already gone through. I think we're just exactly gonna stay with the same poles that are there. We're gonna paint them. And we're gonna replace the fixture at the top. I've met with my electrician. He already knows what to get, so that'll be good. The concrete, we had thought we were gonna be working in the wintertime, so we had thought we'd use cast, right?
Yeah, precast.
We're not. We're gonna use, and I don't know your terminology, but we're gonna pour on site. So that's,
It's called poured in place.
yeah, that was a concern, and I think we've satisfied that concern. We'll just, and they are better, they last a lot longer if you do them correctly. So one of the curb cuts on where the dumpster is, I think, staff approached me and said, maybe we can move this a little bit. It just makes more sense. It won't get chewed up by the snowplow. And I said, I'm all for that. So we might move that one little curb and we'll work with, again, town engineer on that. So, did you want to go through some of the stuff? There was only those 2 major things. The other things that were on here, and I guess you guys have a copy of this. I think we've satisfied everything that was there. Everything that was here from the last meeting, we've absolutely satisfied at 100%. The chain link gate is my personal ask, so we can, when the CWPM, whoever's doing my hauling, we love to open those gates with the truck forks instead of getting out and opening by hand. So I just want to make sure that we can adjust them. And the other panel doors, I don't think would last as long. So that's one ask that I think we can keep up with. And the rest of it, I think I've covered. We had a meeting with the town. I think it went very well. I think we've covered every single one of your asks. We didn't push back on anything. I think we're ready to go. Want to talk about lighting a little bit?
Sorry, Mr. Nafis?
I have a question here, and I think you better look into that easement again. There's no way that you got a temporary easement. They might have had a temporary easement to grade or do something on the land. But if you look at that easement, it's not only the sidewalk, it's also all the the equipment for the lighting, for the traffic signals and all that. And the state's not gonna leave that on your property. What the state generally does, they have to take a piece of property like this in a corner. If taking that property leaves them with a what's the word? A lot that's non-conforming, they can't take it. They can't take that property. They have a choice to either go through all the rigmarole to get a variance or whatever, or what they did in this time, or what I've seen them do numerous times, is they get an easement to do that. So just want you to be clear that that easement.
Right. I think the temporary part that's getting confused is they have a temporary access to it.
Right.
That's just for the access.
Oh,
the temporary part. It's a permanent easement for highway purposes, which you can see
either
states
way, I think,
full and perpetual easement for highway.
I believe that's correct. I believe the right of entry terminated when the construction was done.
So the easement still stays there for highway
okay.
purposes.
Yeah, and the
I
town, then the town engineer has contacted DOT, has looked at, the most recent mapping that they could find. I know there was a question whether it actually had been taken or been actually changed on a map. We could not find evidence of it actually being taken and changed over, but that is a permanent easement that is on that site.
Okay. So the temporary easement was for the work.
Just for the work, once that terminated.
Okay.
That's,
It's kind of messed up if you read it, because the language actually says temporary easement. But that's fine. I think the concern was who's going to insure it?
Right.
And trust me,
You don't want to.
I'll be the one to insure it. I don't want anything to happen.
Chairman, if I may, I have a couple items to add. So it's in the staff report too, that the applicant did respond regarding that question. They noted that they did speak to those owners too, but they did actually provide that, and it has reported in the traffic report that, there is that 5% chance that it will exceed the 10 vehicles that it can stack before it goes into potentially impacting those other businesses. So that was an item that the commission did discuss last time. And that's kind of, that is the design of the site. Again, that's during their peak hours. The applicant did indicate that the peak hours may differ between what's in there currently. The subway has some in the morning. The nail salon does open later. The insurance agent is not necessarily as early morning, but there is that potential for that impact. But that impact happens on site versus the original application that came in, the original layout where that impact would have happened within the driveway, which would have blocked access. So they've improved that. Again, the impact have been, if the possible impact has been shifted to within the site from outside of the site for what the traffic engineer reported. So there's a couple items, and as noted, it was discussed with the dumpster enclosure. The dumpster enclosure on the last set of plans was proposed to be just a cedar dumpster enclosure, cedar gates. What's shown on your plan that was included in your packets is the brick dumpster with the cedar gates. Again, the applicant is requesting to do chain link. That is within the purview of the commission as far as how the design goes of the dumpster. For example, over at the car wash on Fenn, it's a white gate with a white chain link in the front that actually has the slats in it. So you could consider the color. Again, the buildings are brick and white. Sometimes black is used commonly and it blends in. So again, that is at the purview because it is within the overlay district. And the commission does have purview over design of these site features. Another item, again, added, you can see the crosswalk and the patio. Staff does support the location of the patio. The town engineer supports it. Again, this was in the area of employee parking where unlikely to be completely full. But part of that application, again, to have that patio there, which was discussed by the commission and the sidewalk, is that it will drop them to below the required parking. However, there is a provision specifically as part as those abutting the municipal parking lot that allows these businesses that improve their businesses, that improve the sites, that do newer construction to share in the municipal parking lot. The one item, so that would be for 2 spaces. The other thing to consider is as far as the sidewalk, and actually if you could bring up the slideshow, I just kind of wanted to highlight the current condition that, again, this is something that the town engineer believes he can work out with the applicant, but it could potentially impact one additional parking space, depending on what's required for the access. Again, it might be able to work out that the parking space stays and the handicap, the accessible space can shift. And it could be worked out, but again, this is something that'll need to be designed and approved by the town engineer. You want to get to the photo. So this is the area you see. This is looking at the side of it. Again, the sidewalk will be across that green space that's in front of you connecting to the building. Right. Now, if you go to the next slide, this is kind of the area we're talking about. So right now where the sidewalk comes in, you can see that pillar. The map scales out about 2.5 feet between there. The town engineer noted too, when I was speaking to him, he had to squeeze between there a little bit. So as far as access goes, it's rounded. That's where the sidewalk goes to now. So I think that just needs to be further worked out. If that is something that the commission is comfortable having staff work out, I think it could be done. And that's something that the town engineer said he's willing to do. But again, as it shows currently, it does need to be refined. So if you do, if you are inclined to improve this application, I would state on the record, if you could, that if you're okay with the sharing of municipal parking spaces, that it either be for 2 or 3 spaces. Because if this space is required to be eliminated for pedestrian access, staff does believe pedestrian access is important on this site. It's adjacent to the high-rise tower there. You would have people potentially coming across. It connects to the sidewalk system. Again, that's just something to consider. So again, the main issues are, then there's some you'll see in the draft motion. There's a couple different items there, some housekeeping items, some things to update on the plans. But again, the major things are, again, what are you looking for design for the dumpster enclosure? And then are you okay with staff working out this alignment of the crosswalk?
We are really gracious that.
Could you please state your name and, please?
My name is Anja Skihan. I work for the applicant. We are really gracious that I think Commissioner Corelli suggested the access and the patio area. We are more than willing to work out the access to the building for handicap accessible customers. What I wanted to mention regarding the dumpster enclosure. I took the time to drive around the area, which is Marketplace, and most of the dumpsters there are actually not in an enclosure. I sent Eric a couple pictures of the 2 dumpsters which are in an enclosure. And Eric, I don't know if you can pull up the pictures.
Just a moment, please.
Yeah. Because those are in a in a
Cinder block.
cinder block enclosure with a chain link doors, gates. So we kind of match the area, and it's really a practical purpose for us to have these gates, because once a garbage truck hits those gates suggested by the town planner, they just will not look good anymore. They will be out of whack and broken up. So this has worked for us in the past. This is the, you actually see the building in the back. This is the dumpster enclosure right there, and it has a chain link with the slats in the back. And then that's from a little bit further away. And then there is another dumpster enclosure also with a chain link. So we kind of match what's in that area. We would match what's in that.
So right now, they're either cinder block or one of them is actually a block. So we're proposing brick because we have brick on the 2 buildings and AZAC cap on the top of the brick with the chain link gate. And we don't care whatever color you want. We'll do the colors. And I'm not quite sure if she works for me. I think sometimes I work for her, but I just want to clarify
I know
that.
the feeling.
I just want to clarify
I know
that.
the feeling.
Thank you.
There are some other items too that we were looking at. Again, it's with, since it was newly proposed, the patio, questions just about trash receptacles, what the tables are going to be. Again, that's something to be refined out. Staff does believe there should be a trash receptacle out there. Again, if people are dining outside, or some way to handle that. So again, that's included in the staff conditions. So again, these are the primary items. Again, there has been a lot of work done to this plan. It has been refined. There's just a couple items that need to be refined a little further.
Any other commissioner questions? Yes, Mr. Jones.
Quick question, Mr. Dixon. Have there been any thoughts or discussions or towards the applicants on what were the thoughts were or the plans were with that outside post? Because I want to say it looks structural.
Yeah, so this kind of just happened tonight.
Gotcha. That's why I'm asking. I didn't know.
It looks like it is structural, but honestly, I'm not opposed to take, that window's in the vestibule. Take the window, I'll put a door there. So you wouldn't have to worry about squeezing
Awesome.
in between the column, you know?
Yeah, I
Just
think-
quick fix. what
Yeah,
I
it
can
it
see.
just, it is something that just needs to go through a design exercise. Yeah, likely by looking at it, yeah, most likely that is structural sitting on a corner.
Oh,
I mean, we're gonna work with the town engineer.
Okay.
We'll.
I did have one other question for the applicant, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Love the routing of the garbage truck in easy in, easy out. What time, just as a reminder, what time are you guys going to be opening up as far as for business?
5 a.m.
5 a.m. Are you going to be able to schedule the garbage pickup such that you're not in a busy time?
We do now with 18 other locations.
Just checking, because
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
because the way it's routed, they're coming in through the outdoor.
Yep.
As far as driveway wise. I saw that, I'm like, ooh,
It's gonna be,
Okay.
it's gonna be when we're closed.
just checking.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a 24-hour store. So it's gonna close at 11 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Probably. I mean, when there's an event in the center of town,
It's,
you might want to stay open an hour later or something, but, yeah.
but garbage can pick up outside of.
Jason Manafort's the owner of CWPM. He knows me very well. I have him on speed dial. His trucks are not in my driveway interfering with my business.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Anytime.
Sure, questions? I have one quick question for the town planner. The dip in there, you're gonna remove that dip, or you're gonna leave it the way it is? You know, where the kid drop basin is in the middle of the driveway.
Yeah,
I'm just
We were thinking of
curious.
leaving it alone because I was there, during
I
the,
know it was, but I'm just wondering, that's all, if that would be if you were doing anything with it, that's all.
we weren't
Okay.
planning on it.
All right.
That the other catch basin will actually have some work around it, and I believe that one actually is being adjusted.
Yeah.
So there are two with a little bit of dip. The
Right.
other one is within the work area because, well, you can see again in the plans, to install the dumpster pad, they actually are rerouting a pipe. They're removing an existing pipe, that actually connects down to the south, and then they'll be connecting it to the catch basin across. Again, removing one pipe, installing a new pipe, again, because the footings for the dumpster pad will need to go in that area, so it did require that to be changed slightly.
There is a, water shut off. MDC's been out there. And the water shut off is elevated. It is a trip hazard, so that's being immediately reduced. So it's not a trip hazard.
Yeah, that's in the walk over by Subway, right?
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay.
Commissioner, Chairman, I have a
Yes.
question. On that drawing there, you show it as between the two trees from the main parking lot, entering it as an out, but on the drawing, you show it as an in and an out. And this plan.
There's 2 separate drawings.
Plan, that was in and out.
Existing conditions.
I'm gonna tell you right now, from living in downtown Newington, I live probably a three par golf hole from there. That's gonna be an in. Sorry, commissioners, that's gonna be an in, not an out. No one's gonna go down to the other end and go in. The concept of the drivers. I know how it's written on paper, but it's just not gonna, if I'm living in the city and watching all the banks and how they kind of do it, that's gonna be an in by the drivers.
There is plenty of signage right there. Two intersections.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anything else, Commissioner Claffey?
No, that's it.
Commissioner Payne? Anything?
Said, thank you.
Any other commissioner? Okay.
And I didn't know if you wanted me to. Mine doesn't have his hand raised. He didn't have his hand raised, but I didn't know if you wanted to check with him, that's all.
Yeah.
He hasn't been. Yeah.
I want to put the sidewalk right there.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would just a kind of point of order thing, we still do not see Commissioner Minor online. So,
Is he online?
He is not.
Yeah, okay.
yep, so there would
I'd like
need to be, it's a little out of order on that one, but just to note,
I'd like to seat Commissioner Hoffman in his place. Any objections?
No objection.
Thank you. I know it's out of order and I'm sorry, but Chris had called me and said he was going to be online, but he was dealing with a water main breakup and I forgot Wednesday or Wednesday long. So, all right, thank you.
This is the other item that I can add. Again, it was noted briefly before, but they said they were keeping the gooseneck lighting. They have removed the lit signs and also the directional signs will also be non-lit. It'll just be the enter signs. Again, just those small directional ones, they'll just be printed on a reflective material. So at night they will pick up light, so people will be able to utilize them. But they have, in response to the town center overlay design requirements, they have changed all their signage to non-lit. Yes.
I'm going to ask, is anybody else in the audience wishes to speak in favor of the petition? Anybody else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the petition? Anybody online?
For people online, but nobody has their hand raised.
Okay. All right, next, anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Speak in opposition. Eric? Okay, what's the commissioner's pleasure? Yes,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we close petition 27-23 and move it to old business for possible action.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, hearing none. Petition is being closed. Move to old business. We voted on tonight.
For the record, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I did not hear who seconded
I
that.
believe it was,
Oh, thank you, Mr. Nathan.
I heard him say you're out of.
Thank you.
That's what I heard. Just keep it down.
Next petition for scheduling or for hearing rather is petition 2623.
yep, so petition 2623 special permit, section 3.4.7 to convert a pre-1920 single-family residential dwelling at 202 Deming Street into 2 residential units in the R20 zone. Applicant owner Salvatore J. Visconti Jr. and Paula J. Visconti. Contact Paula J. Visconti.
Is the applicant here?
Well, it's not here tonight. I'm Salvatore Davis Jr. Take your name and ask.
The record.
Salvatore.
J. Visconti Jr., 202 Deming Street, Newington.
From here, we're interested in putting our residential home into 2 smaller units. We're looking at converting the upstairs portion to a 1-bedroom affordable housing rental. My lot is 0.745 acres, 3,200 square feet. And the home is 2,916 square feet of living space, not including the attached garage. Out of that 13216, we're allotting 840 square feet would become a second unit. Both units would include full baths, kitchens, as well as laundry hookups. The driveway runs over the length, the side of the house with more than 1.5 per dwelling behind the front line of the principal structure. The driveway is a 3 cars wide at the top, closest to the house. We would not require any additional structure to make this conversion. The only outside change would be an additional door for access to the second unit. And it would be directly adjacent to the existing door, the one to the upper unit and the existing door for the main floor. We'd appreciate your consideration for this. Thank you.
Mr. Planner?
So, again, the zoning officer Mr. Hinckley has reviewed this plan. It does meet the area requirements for the lot. They have submitted a updated survey that confirms it. It confirms the parking spaces that are required and that each unit does equal the amount, exceed the amount of square footage required. So this does meet compliance with the standards. The one item that only will have to be changed, and I'm gonna make you switch unfortunately again, to the presentation, just to show you the structure itself, if you're not familiar with it, if you haven't driven by it. It is a larger, as I said, older home, where you have the front pre-existing, you have the small porch over to the side, and then on the next picture, so this is really the area where you see the one door. A new door will be cut into right next to that existing door. So as far as the applicant's plan, that is the only changes as far to the structure that is proposed. Again, it will have to go through the building department and it will have to get all of its permits, but that's the only change that's required. Right now, access is through the garage and then goes upstairs. The applicant, I believe it was when Paula came in and talked to us, she did note that they did have like a similar in-law setup, not necessarily a full apartment, but it did have like kind of a kitchen setup and everything above. So they're anticipating an easier conversion, but again, it will have to go through the building department, but it does meet the standards.
Mr. Hinckley,
Yes,
any questions? Any comments?
pretty much.
Any comments, or questions from commissioners? Thank you for your time. Anybody wish to speak in favor of this petition?
I have somebody with their hand up online, Mr. Chairman. Go ahead, Mr. Morgan.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Or David Horrigan, 30 Candlewick Drive. I'm here to speak in favor of petition 2623. My property directly abuts the subject property on its eastern border. I am confident in saying that if the special permit is granted, it will in no way adversely affect my property value and would not create any hardship for my wife or I. Please also note that our property at 30 Candlewick is for all practical purposes the only truly abutting residence. Thank you.
No one else with their hand up, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone wishing to speak against this petition? Wishing to speak against the petition? All right, any questions or comments from the commissioners? What's the commission's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Chairman Payne.
I'll make a motion to move petition 26-23. I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to close petition 26-23 and move it to old business for possible action.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. I'm gonna close petition. We'll vote on tonight, put it under old business, okay? All right. The next is approval of the minutes. Has everyone had time to read the minutes?
Yeah, I got some comments.
I'm sorry?
I have a few comments
Yes,
on the minutes.
yes, Commissioner Nafis.
The first one on the first page, Stuart Kelly. His last name is actually Cally, Calle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good catch.
so I just wanted to make sure you got that. And the only other comment I really have on this is that there are an awful lot of comments in here attributed to me that I never made. So I'm not sure who made some of these comments. I said very little last week. Peter made some, I think Gia made some, but a lot of them are attributed to me. I don't know. I didn't go through and mark each one off of who said it, so I don't know how you want to deal with that.
Please, Mr. Planner, would you please have Noreen review the minutes and fix them, please?
On the table.
We'll vote them on next meeting.
Yeah, we can just table those for now.
Okay.
Is it okay with the commissioner to put this off to the next meeting till we get the minutes correct? All right. Next is under new business. We have golf company here. Okay. Mr. Flanagan, did you want to go over anything or?
So again, I would just like to say, so this is the biennial review of both with the operations and the site plan. So this is an item, just for your reference too, that is just under new business. Again, this is not a traditional application that comes in. This is just a review that's required for the 1989 agreement between the town of Newington and the golf company, where they come and update the commission on operations, again, for the past 2 years and what's been done, what's been excavated, and then what they're looking forward to for the next 2 years as far as operations. So again, this is a presentation, and it's a presentation for acceptance of the materials. Again, the plan and acceptance of the plan of operations.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Chris Catafello, 231 Garden Street, Weathersfield. I'm here to represent Tilcon for their biannual review. As you'll see on there, not much has changed. The footprint of the quarry hasn't changed. It's just a progression of the internal faces. The biggest change is we haven't used a primary crusher. Last couple of years, we've hired an outside company with a portable crusher, primarily because of staffing issues. Production anywhere between 300,000 and 500,000 tons a year, which will probably stay the same within the next couple of years.
Any questions?
And what I've done is, in your packets, you should have 2 different maps. One was from the previous approval, so you can kind of compare that, the previous acceptance. And then one is the current map that's being shown. As you can see, as noted, other than the location of the processing area, that there's been, just what's been typical movement on the floor, the base of the quarry, and just a progression going that would be towards the south.
Any questions from the commissioners?
I have one just concern with what's going on is just how dirty the streets have been. Just how dirty Tilcon is keeping the streets out there. That's all. That's my only concern, Chairman.
Back truck.
It's probably worse than normal from last year. Just,
Okay.
no worries. Thank you. That's my only concern, Chairman.
Anybody else? Okay.
Town engineer and I did actually go toward the site and look around. It is comparable to the plan. Chris was nice enough to show us around, as we drove through. And as I said, as far as any concerns regarding the streets or anything, that would be something, again, if there is an issue on that, the agency involved is the DEEP, who would be the one who would be enforcing. But again, people can, if there are issues, they can contact the town planner's office, can be forwarded on.
Well, Mr. Pennant, let me ask you this. Who enforces the erosion and sedimentation control for our town of Newington then?
So we,
It's not the state, it's someone in our own town. That's why I'm bringing it up.
absolutely. As I said, that is something that we would look at. Quarries are a little different in that the governing bodies that actually, as far as their plans, as far as their water discharge, a lot of it is DEP or federal. Again, quarries, there are some items that are taken out of our hands that are more federally or state regulated.
Any other questions? You also with it, Anthony, or is, no, I'm just.
It happens in it's our whole town. Look at all the construction sites. Don't just make an excuse not at the state. Keep our streets clean as a town. Go look down Payne Road. I'm not using you as an example. Fortunately, you're sitting in front of me and you drive down Hartford Avenue sometimes, it's a mess. It happens at a lot of streets. Payne Road, Berlin Turnpike, that's all.
Yes, we have to vote on this, or is this all set?
Yep, so this would be it's in front of you, the proposed motion. Again, it's a motion to approve the acceptance. Again, it's not approval of it as an application. Per the agreement, it's to be accepted by the commission.
Okay. So we'll move this to old business, vote on it tonight then.
Okay.
I'm sorry, anybody opposed, anybody in favor,
Sorry, it's in a public hearing.
Yeah,
What?
we can just.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have this just under new business, again, because it's not a traditional application, so it can be acted upon right now, and that's the motion that's in front of you.
Anybody speaking in favor of it? Anybody speaking against it? Okay.
Online.
I'm sorry?
No one online has their hand raised.
Want to make a motion to, Gina?
I'll read the, so petition, 30-23 biannual review of golf quarry operations and site plan at the Golf Company, 301 Hartford Avenue. Applicant contact Christopher J. Costello, owner, the Golf Company, Tilcon, Connecticut, Incorporated. Motion to approve acceptance, move to accept petition 3023 for the biennial review of the golf quarry operations and site plan dated May 19th, 2019, revised January 2nd, 2024, prepared by J.R. Russo and Associates pursuant to the Town of Newington and Golf Company Agreement dated April 26th, 1989. Reason for acceptance: the review complies with the 1989 agreement between the town and Golf Quarry.
Okay.
Second it, Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, Commissioner Payne.
I'd like to second that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, yes. It's moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes. We're all set.
Thank you.
Yep. On it is the petition 3123, Mr. Planner.
So this is petition 3123, site plan modification for the construction of an outdoor dining patio and modification of parking and landscaping at 2929 Berlin Turnpike in the PD zone, Plan Development Zone. Applicant, the BSC Group, owner, Berlin Turnpike, 2929 LLC. Contact Francis Vaca.
The applicant here.
Sure.
Can I have your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Francis Vaca with the BSC Group in Glastonbury, Connecticut, 655 Winding Brook Drive in Glastonbury.
Presentation.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, for the record, Francis Vaca, BSC Group in Glastonbury, Connecticut. I'm here on behalf of Doro Restaurant Group. They are very excited to be presenting in front of you this evening. They have a few different restaurants in West Hartford, in Manchester, and in Wethersfield, and they are looking forward to the potential of restaurant here in Newington. This is a proposed restaurant. We don't actually have a name for it yet, and it is going to be located at 2921 Berlin Turnpike in Newington, which was the former location of the Bertucci's. We are here to respectfully request the approval for a site plan modification under section 5.3 and section 3.11.6 of the Newington zoning regulations. And it is specifically for the installation of a terrace and freestanding veranda to the north side of the building. Tonight, I'm going to speak briefly about the existing site review. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about the proposed terrace installation. There is some modification to the parking. I did perform a parking assessment that I'm going to review briefly. Speak briefly about the landscaping screening, and then I have a furniture plan and elevation just to show of the potential of what the building is proposed to look like upon completion. Just an aerial view. I'm sure the majority of the commissioners here are aware of this location, but it's Main Street, Berlin Turnpike. Main Street is located to the north of the building. It was the former Bertucci site. There is parking directly south of the building. There's some smaller parking to the north. What is not represented here that you can't see based on the trees here, but there is a detention pond. So all of the drainage associated with the site drains towards the detention pond to the north. This existing condition plan, which shows anything that's shown in gray is the existing parking, green represents landscaping, white directly adjacent to the building is the sidewalks, and then the building itself is represented here in orange. The lot size is 3.56 acres. Building is 6,900 square feet, and it will remain. There will not be any modifications to the building itself specifically. It is one story. There is no basement. There is one access point off of the Berlin Turnpike southbound. So you need to enter the site, right turn in, right turn out. There are 116 parking spaces on the site. I'm going to speak a little bit more about that later on in the presentation. And I would like to draw the commission's attention to there is a wetland off the property located to the west. This orange line, or I should say this magenta line, represents the edge of the upland review area. All of the work associated with this development will be outside of the upland review. We are not impacting anything within the wetland area. As far as the terrace that we are showing, identified here in blue would be the additional terrace. It is going to be constructed separate from the building itself. It will be freestanding. It's 2,140 square feet. It's a raised terrace, raised specifically because there will be additional the doors that come out of the building to the north, the slab in the restaurant elevation itself is a bit higher. So the highest point here for the terrace in order to maintain ADA accessibility is going to be approximately 3.5 feet higher than grade at this northern corner. As a result of that, there will be an egress stair to allow code fire exit from the patio area, I should say the terrace area. There is an ADA egress out of the patio as well to the east, down onto some modification to the existing to the existing sidewalks. In this area, the main entrance to the restaurant will be to the east in approximately the same location as it was previously. The terrace itself will have a freestanding veranda that will not be connected to the building. This will be an aluminized structure with a corrugated metal canopy. I'm going to speak about that a little bit more, a little bit future. And then as far as the landscaping, there will be some screening landscaping provided to screen the terrace itself away from some of the parking area and some of the Berlin Turnpike. And I would just like to state that all of this design, the terrace and the veranda, will be installed in accordance with Connecticut Building Code for exterior restaurant dining. The parking assessment that need to be provided in accordance with section 611C of the zoning regulations for the town. It is eating establishments, taverns, and cocktail lounges require 20 spaces for each 1,000 square feet of floor area open to the public. As a result of that, the interior area open to the public within the restaurant, so this would be the area, the portion of the restaurant where people will be sitting, not the kitchens, not the bathrooms and so on, will be 3,211 square feet. The new terrace that is included will be 2,140 as previously stated. Combining those two together is 5,351 square feet at 20 spaces per 1,000 square feet equals a total of 107 spaces required for this restaurant to function effectively in accordance with the regulations. There are 116 spaces on site, therefore there is a surplus of 9 spaces needed. The 7 spaces that are located directly north of the existing building as shown now, it is the developers requesting to remove these 7 spaces to install the terrace in their place. As far as landscaping and screening, we are removing the pavement as previously stated for the parking. There will be some sidewalk along the front, the north portion that is removed, as well as approximately 930 square feet of deteriorated, poorly maintained landscaping area. Right now, I believe it's just, old mulch with no plantings associated with that. As part of the proposed development, the terrace will add an additional 925 square feet. So there's about 5 square feet of difference, but that is virtually no alteration of the stormwater patterns. For the stormwater, the terrace itself will be pitched to the north at about 1% to maintain ADA accessibility. The terrace that is over top, I would say the veranda over top of this will have corrugated metal roofing that will drain to the landscape area. There will be a gutter over top of the stair area to prevent there from any rain getting onto any of the individuals that would be potentially exiting in this case. I will just like to indicate to the commission that there is no overall change in the stormwater associated with this development. The current existing stormwater runs onto the parking area down to a catch basin before discharging into the detention pond. Same situation will occur here. It will run across the roof again, approximately the same amount of impervious coverage. It will discharge over onto the parking area, to the catch basin, and into the detention pond with no changes. I would like to just note that there was a request from the town after coordinating with them that there were some street trees that were moved. They will be replaced as part of this development. Those trees in green here identified are being replaced. And they are placed in accordance with the parking lot landscaping requirements for the town regulations. This is just a quick example of a potential furniture plan. It's not exactly set in stone, but what I'd like to point out is the fact that along the boundary area of the terrace is going to be essentially booth seating, so that the feel of the terrace will basically, it's going to be open, but it's not going to be directly visible to the parking area. This is also a potential elevation view. What I'd like to point out here and specifically is the area represented in gray here is the veranda and the terrace portion that would essentially be an aluminized structure that would have the corrugated metal roof. There will be, again, some type of plantings shown. There will be additional plantings not identified on this elevation that will be basically taller conical type trees spaced where you would have the feeling of separation when you're sitting on the terrace, but you still have the open feel. It's not completely screened off. There will be some rain shades that would be lowered down. They're really clear. They would basically prevent any of the rain from basically getting into the terrace area. It's not going to be fully enclosed. It is not air conditioned. It is intended to be a 3.5 season terrace. It is not considered an add-on component to the restaurant gross square footage. An example of this actually is one of Dora Restaurant Group's other restaurants. It's the Artisanal Burger Bar in Manchester. This is actually a good approximation of what the canopy area could look like. Prior to the presentation, we did receive comments from the town. I've reviewed all of those town comments. There are no comments specifically that give me any concern. I believe that the developer and Dora Restaurant Group would be able to meet all of those specific requirements in order to get this approved. Therefore, with that, I would like to again respectfully request the approval of this site plan modification. Thank you very much.
Mr. Planner?
Staff and the town engineer have reviewed the plan. Again, it's an exciting plan to breathe life back into the existing restaurant there. If you could bring up the site photos. Again, we've worked with Mr. Vaca regarding, for the inception of this plan and have been discussing it. I think it's a good use for the site. Again, regarding the parking, this does, as far as looking at the area, it does meet the parking requirements for the numbers as provided by the architect. That, and this could be a very popular restaurant, which would be wonderful for Newington. The removal of the 7 spaces, as they noted, that area is impervious already. So really there is as I noted, a 5 square foot difference plus or minus. Town engineer has reviewed that and found that to be, again, not sufficient enough to make any changes. Staff did go out and look at the site. So what you can see is kind of our aerial. And then this is the area where the patio is going to be placed. You can see the existing parking spaces there. This will kind of, as I said, elevated. It won't need to be extremely elevated. We're not talking about, a high terrace. You can see the side of the building there to kind of give you some perspective. Again, it will remove that corner, that ramp that's there, and it will be reconstructed. So we can go on to the next picture. This is a general overview of the site. Kind of noted in the staff report that we don't have as many comments really with the actual plan itself and the design. We do have some comments regarding site maintenance, but I think that's something that just happens when a property does turn over. We have those recommended as possible conditions of approval. That is up to the commission whether you choose to carry those forward. Again, we're looking at the condition of the pavement. Generally, it's at an area, there's a couple areas that are kind of pot marked out. There's one area that's unraveling towards the back of the building. This is general maintenance, and I think they would want to do it anyway without an issue on the site. We can kind of continue through. So again, the dumpster enclosures, again, this is a site that has, was used for significantly, amount of time, heavy use, and right now has sat dormant for a little while. So these areas need to be worked on. Again, that's not a deal breaker. That's just reattaching panels and rebuilding it and putting it back together. It exists. It's sufficient for the restaurant use. Next one. So this is the existing detention area. In the previous aerial, you could see it was cleaned out. That was at the time that those trees were removed. Staff does have some comments regarding addition of a couple trees that weren't included on this plan. They're just south of the building. There's 2 parking lot islands that don't have trees in them currently, which didn't get replaced, which were part of the original plan. And then there was a little to the south of the driveway entrance. There were 3 trees there. Again, I think we can work with the applicant in location. Those trees, the way they were originally, were right next to the sign, which is not a good place to put a street tree. You have to have some balance between where the street tree is and visibility for the business. So I think we can work with the applicant on where those get put back. And again, we can go to the next one. It's not a great picture, but the basin is there. It's uncovered. Again, this is just kind of some general maintenance that gets done. It has been maintained. There were some trees growing in before that were removed, which is actually good to remove them from a detention pond so it does not end up filling in, and if it wasn't designed to be as such. The one item that we have asked the applicant is just provide some information regarding inspection of the stormwater system. Generally, it's an item that should be done as general housekeeping, but when you have a turnover of the site, it's an opportunity to review the site and just to make sure that all the maintenance is done. Other than that, staff does not have too many other comments. Most of them are maintenance comments. And again, with the structure itself, there was a comment on there regarding, is there any drainage for it? The gutter, this has been evolving. The gutter is going to be a small gutter, likely will drain into the landscape area. And if that's the plan, then no additional drainage will be required. We just want to know if there was any new underground routing or connections and where it was going to connect to. So as far as staff is concerned, if the commission is comfortable with this application, these items, staff believes they can handle and work with the applicant and moving the plan forward.
Mr. Hinckley?
You covered all the comments.
Commissioners?
I just have one question. We have the right to make a condition for them to do maintenance on their site?
So the way I would look at it too is site plan compliance. There is that unraveling, there is that, so it's site plan compliance. So again, this is a modification, but when you're looking back, things do need to be kept in good order, and that is part of it. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Again,
I just didn't know we had the right to make that a condition. Okay.
Any other questions? Commissioner Payne?
Thank you. I just think that this is a fantastic to be able to add this outside dining to the restaurant. I think it's going to add to it tremendously. And as far as the outside maintenance, those are very small items. And normally over the history of town planning and zoning, we've never had maintenance items on conditions, but they are minor.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other commissioner remarks? Okay. And I'm gonna open this up to the general public. Anybody wishing to speak in?
This is not a public
I'm sorry?
This is not a public hearing.
Oh, it is. All right. Thank you.
Very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Chairman, if I may, if the commission chooses to pull those off, again, they're minor. They can, they're things that would be done anyway. But yeah, it's just items that were noted when the site was inspected.
So we can vote on just for the outdoor patio tonight.
Yes. I think, the outdoor patio and the modifications to the parking and landscaping. To kind of note too that it is noted in the staff report that outdoor dining in Newington's regulations, it says restaurants and outdoor dining, may be approved by the commission. There is a public act 22-1, which actually made it an accessory use to an existing restaurant. So I hope sometime in the future, near future, to come forward and have a discussion regarding outdoor dining, and we'll look at that and see how that works going forward, just to provide some options. Again, the applicant did note that there were no DJs and no live bands on the patio. That is put there as a potential condition. At the end, if the if the commission chooses to continue that forward. Again, it's just something that the staff has noted. And I'm not concerned about the current operator. I'm always looking at if a site turns over in 20 years and someone else, or 30 years, and someone comes in with a different type of use, it could be a little different. And if it's not clearly understood what the application is, it could be different. Again, this site does not abut residential. It's at the corner of two major roads. There isn't that much around it, so I'm not as concerned with the site as far as abutters, but it is a potential
So
condition.
we'll open it to the general public then for comments, or
It's just a site plan, though.
just a site plan, okay.
Site plan not.
So we can move this whole business and vote on it. Yes, Commissioner Dress.
I do like the idea of saying that it doesn't abut to a residential and actually putting in there for the sake of no live music. You might want to add DJ to that. The only reason why I'm thinking that is because I remember with the Krispy Kreme, it was the noise that made the neighbors complain about the trucks coming in at all kinds of hours to be able to deliver from there. So there are houses close enough to be right there, where if it was loud and it was midnight, 2 a.m, people might get upset, even though they're not directly abutting. So I like the concept of that. We want to make sure that stays in there.
I think that could be amended. Again, it says no live bands, DJs, and the applicant specifically in their narrative did note that there would be no DJs and no live bands, that they weren't looking for that type of atmosphere. Again, there will be outdoor speakers associated with it, but they did note that they'll comply with all noise ordinances.
Any other questions, commissioners? Want to move this to old business? Commissioner Payne?
Certainly. I make a motion that we move petition 3123 to old business for possible action tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, any other staff reports, documents, or anything like that? No, okay. Going into old business, Gina, would you read the first petition, please?
So it'll be 2723.
There you are.
Petition 2723, special permit, section 3.13.0 and 3.13.7, and site plan for a restaurant with an accessory drive-through at 79 East Cedar Street, AKA 63-79 East Cedar Street, in the BTZ zone, Business Town Center zone, and Town Center Village Overlay District. Applicant, Cedar Street LLC, owner, Newington Sovereign Bank Plaza LLC, contact Carrie Gagnon. Motion to approve with conditions. Move to approve application 27-23 for a site plan with an accessory drive through the 79 East Cedar Street with the following conditions. 1, the plan shall be modified to address the following, subject to staff approval. A, revise the proposed new sidewalk to provide a complete accessible pedestrian pathway. The plan shall be approved by the town engineer. B, site lighting details shall be updated to show overall height of light pole. If a change in lighting fixtures from the existing site condition is proposed, a photometric plan is required. C, the plan shall be modified to specify poured-in-place concrete curbing if precast curbing is not utilized. D, a complete detail of the dumpster pad, including the gate, shall be provided. E, provide details of the site fixtures for the outdoor dining areas, including a trash receptacle. F, revise the area of bituminous saw cutting and replacement at the western driveway entrance to be approved by the town engineer. G, revise demolition plan to include a plug in the southwest catch basin. H, revise bituminous cross-section detail note to include, quote, with approval of the town engineer in regards to adjustment due to field conditions. I, include manufacturer's installation and maintenance requirement for pervious patio pavers. J, call out or provide a detail for the line striping for the box and marking adjacent to the building. 2, the commission approves of sharing of spaces in the municipal parking lot per section 3.12.A.5.B. Reason for approval, the proposed application with modifications meets the criteria for special permits and site plans as delineated in the Newington zoning regulations.
There's a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Next petition for consideration is petition 2623. Gina?
Petition 2623, special permit, section 3.4.7, to convert a pre-1920 single-family residential dwelling at 202 Deming Street into 2 residential units in the R20 zone. Applicant owner Salvatore J. and Paula Visconti Jr. Contact Paula Visconti. Motion to approve with conditions. Move to approve application 2623 for a special permit for the conversion of a pre-1920 residential structure at 202 Deming Street with the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall obtain the required building permits for any interior or exterior renovations required to modify the structure. Reason for approval, the proposed application meets the criteria for special permits as delineated in the Newington zoning regulations.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, and the next one would be petition 3123. 3123. Gina?
Yep, petition 3123, site plan modification for the construction of an outdoor dining patio and modification of parking and landscaping at 2929 Berlin Turnpike in the PD Plan Development Zone. Applicant, the BSC Group, owner Berlin Turnpike 2929 LLC, contact Francis Vaca. Motion to approve with conditions. Move to approve application 31-23 for a site plan modification for the construction of an outdoor dining patio and a modification of parking and landscaping at 2929 Berlin Turnpike with the following conditions. 1, the plan shall be modified to address the following, subject to staff approval. A, show grading for the proposed accessible van parking space. B, provide additional trees from the previous approval in the first 2 parking lot islands south of the building and in front of the site, south of the driveway entrance. C, show any proposed drainage for the patio structure. D, revise sheet N-1.0, note 10, contractor to provide adequate spill kit during construction. E, label emergency egress stairs from the patio on the plan. F, details. I, specify method product for joint sealant on pavement patch detail. 2, note how the accessible parking sign is to be mounted. 2, restripe pavement markings throughout the site. 3, repair pavement in areas of cracking and deteriorated section of pavement and curbing along the perimeter of the southwestern parking lot. 4, repair dumpster enclosure. 5, provide information regarding inspection of existing stormwater system. 6, the approval does not include live bands on the patio. Reason for approval, the proposed application with modification meets the criteria of the town of Newington zoning regulations.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Payne. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, everybody.
Yes. Mr. Planner, did you want to go over positions for scheduling?
And wait there. Yeah. So the petition for scheduling, the commission will recognize this one. So this is the special permit for a cannabis hybrid retailer at 2661 Berlin Turnpike. This was previously approved by the commission. However, there was 2 condo associations next to this site, and notice went to 1 condo association. So the applicant is requesting to come back before they've reapplied, because what happens is the notice requirements change and the appeal requirements change. So they are coming back for belt and suspenders to reapply to get approval again. Just again, there was 2 condo associations next to it, not 1, and it went to 1 condo association. So that's the primary crux of it. So that will be in front of you at the next meeting. The public hearing notices it should actually be published tomorrow, and the notice to the condo associations, including their officers that were found to the state of Connecticut site, the business site, have been sent out, and all the other abutters.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, what happened was there's two associations in Churchill Bridge. Churchill Bridge 1, which is near Main Street, and Churchill Bridge 2, which is near the Turnpike. The notice got sent to Churchill Bridge 1, which is totally, it's kind of tough to explain. They don't talk to each other. Yeah, and I did find out, I think Steve Woods had told me that, Commissioner Woods had told me that there's a bunch of associations in Glen Oaks too, so. I suggested to the planner that we find out where they find out where they are, so we don't go through this again.
That is also something that we requested, IT and the assessor to work together to add these to the GIS for us as we're working through them. Again, as an indicator when we're going and looking through for, different notices. And again, it's to the officers as well. It was sent to the primary one. So now that we've put those all together, they'll be appearing before you, on the 24th.
Thank you. Town planners report?
So I do not have too much. The holiday season got a little busy. As you see, the applications that came before you tonight, a lot of those actually came in and revised plans. So we've been working on that. Grant applications, the one thing I can report, other than, current applications, which we've gone through a lot of those, we've been working with CROG on multiple different plans. The hazard mitigation plan that gets updated, I think that one's every 4 or 5 years. That's actually coming due. So we've been working with them for the updates on that. And there's also the primary climate action plan. They held a webinar today, a meeting amongst towns and the state representatives as well. So we were going through that. That will be published by them. Again, from what I can see, it is a more overall type of goals and objectives. The main thing is for us to be able to be eligible to get certain funding, this does need to be in place for the region. Most of what they've indicated, again, it's a lot of solar charging, other initiatives. I don't see anything in it that's going to, not be beneficial, that if we do have a project that comes up, that we can point to this plan. And again, I've been working on a lot of different CROG items and working with the subcommittees and, participating in that. So that's a lot of the work I've been doing. At the next meeting, I hope to have a little time to go around, check on the statuses of the sites. Not too much has gone forward, except I can say that we have received the as-built for the car wash. So we'll be scheduling a site inspection out there, see if there's any remaining items, review that so they can hopefully go to their CO. So they've gone to that, the MDC work. I think they pretty much give them the tentative sign off on what's been done. So we're going to be moving forward on that, and that should be opening sooner than later.
And they did just, as a side, they paved the parking lot for the hotel probably couple weeks ago. They were getting that in.
Yep. Yeah. And a lot of paving has happened at 3333. They're continuing, I believe I updated the commission either at the last meeting or the meeting before. They had provided a map that showed kind of what their anticipated openings. They're looking for March for kind of their first items. They are still working with the state regarding the signal work. There were some delays on site. There could be a potential right in, right out for the start of the opening before the state can fully work with the state on getting the actual opening in the Berlin Turnpike, and the light in place. But we were continuing to work with them. They're going to be paving, working through having most of the site paved. We're going to make sure there's accessible access to any businesses that open. And they should be providing us an as-built sooner than later for us to review and then work on site bonding for some of the unfinished items.
Okay, so we've covered communications. We're all set with that. Okay. Any public participation?
There's a couple people online. Raised.
7. Matthew does.
Sorry. Oh, Gail, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Terrace, the application today regarding the home conversion just got me thinking, because in his, and it's just a question, I guess, for you guys. In the presentation, he indicated that this was going to be an affordable housing unit. And as well as in his letter, it said affordable housing. And I know that's something we need to be tracking in terms of percentages and whatever. And I was just wondering how these one-offs that are not apartment buildings or whatever, how is this going to be added to a list? How do we keep track of people who indicate that they have like in-law apartments, whatever, that are affordable, and are we going to be tracking these?
So from the state's criteria on how they track it, it wouldn't be counted as affordable because it's not deed restricted. They really only count what is deed restricted because it can change. Someone can say, okay, it's affordable and you can count it. You know, this is what a lot of towns have problems with natural affordability. You do have some areas that are more affordable than not, but it does not get counted. You know, for this, for example, would be something that if they chose to rent it at a lower rate, unless they put a deed restriction on the house. And that could be something, you know, if that's something that we want to talk with the council with and work with, that's something that the town could potentially do. It's something that I've looked at and thought about, you know, what ways can we work with people to, if they want to put these deed restrictions, if they want to provide an affordable unit, they can either voluntarily do so, which was great, and then we can report it to the state, or are there any incentive programs or something of that nature that the town could look at? So on this one, it wouldn't count. I think it's kind of one of those out of the goodness of their heart, trying to provide that type of service. But unfortunately, it would not count to our overall state numbers.
Okay, again, I was just curious as to if this counts.
Thank you, Gail.
The state wants the paperwork.
Go ahead, Matt.
Good evening, everybody. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. I actually had the very same question that Councilor Draco did, so she beat me to it. I'll get you next time, Gail. But I also, I guess, just wanted to apologize first for my absence at the previous meeting, the first meeting back in December. I was having some Zoom issues. I have to admit, I was still learning how to use my town laptop. And I have now learned how to do that. So I'm all set to go now, but just wanted to congratulate all those commissioners who were seated for the first time and reseated as well. Especially congratulate in particular Chairman Sobieski, Vice Chair Woods, and Secretary Pasquarelli, and also looking forward to working together with Commissioner Pasquarelli, Commissioner Woods, and the town planner to represent our community at Frog. So I definitely will be connecting offline, especially with you, Mr. Town Planner, on some of the work around climate that's being done at Frog and how we can get our community ready and set to go to be a part of those processes. And really looking forward to working together with the commission on making sure that we can preserve pedestrian safety, you know, keep people safe in our community and preserve the character of our community as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
We got one more. Go ahead, Rose.
Hi, Rose Lyons, 46 Elton Drive. I don't know whether Noreen's in the room or not, or whether she's watching on Zoom or whatever, but from watching from home, which I prefer to do, especially when I don't drive after dark, it's very, very hard to follow this meeting. The camera's all over the place, and the people that are talking don't always identify themselves, and then there's talking amongst each other or between each other. It's, like I say, it's very confusing, but if there's discrepancies in the minutes, I can only imagine why, because the chatter goes back and forth. So just an observation as someone who's watching from home. I'm hoping that at some point in time that NCTV is going to be back in operating, because I've got YouTube on my computer, on my laptop. I'm talking to you over Zoom, the telephone application here, and watching on NCTV. But the other thing I wanted to mention, and I said it at town council last night, that I think that people in the community need to have an education as to affordable housing and what it actually entails. When you brought up the question, or you gave the answer about affordable housing and this apartment, that it had to be deed restricted. I know that there are deed restricted building or houses in Newington. Hopkins Village is one of them that counts towards our affordable housing. But I thought that there was something also that is affordable housing, or goes towards the count for affordable housing, if there's a voucher for the tenant, and that voucher moves with the tenant or stays in the area there, the apartment itself. But that's another discussion at another time. But I think a lot of us, including myself, I need a refresher on what exactly counts towards our affordable housing stock. The last I checked, they hadn't even gotten a percentage from the 2020 census, but I'll have to check again with Mr. Santoro at the Department of Housing, because I'm interested to see if the units have gone up and how much actual affordable housing we do have here, as the last report I saw was based on, I think, a 2010 census that was done. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rose. Anybody else?
That is it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Remarks by commissioners?
Chairman, excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, Commissioner Payne here. I just wanted to state that I think the town planner really touched upon an interesting concept with possibly giving incentives to homeowners to put a deed restriction on their house to make it affordable. I think the town could very easily achieve over the 10%. And these houses are affordable anyway. And I think that there are some people older that might like to have some sort of incentive, either a level tax or something. So I think it's something that the town planner and possibly the counselors should explore. And then secondly, I just wanted to find out if, sorry I didn't make the last meeting. Did you end up passing out any new regulations to the commissioners? And if you did, I'd like to get a new copy of the most updated regulations.
Yep, so new regulations, a total one haven't been passed out, but that's actually something I can do, especially with the new members as well. I know the blue books were part of in the past. I got one of them back, and some people have condensed them into other, into other forms that are, not as bulky. That blue book has a lot of, that's a big binder. That's like 2.5 inch, 3 inch binder, or bigger. But yes, that is something that I can get that for the commissioners. Again, the regulations, the subdivision regulations, and the bylaws should all be kind of put together. So, yep, if any of the commissioners want it, sounds like at least 2 copies, probably some more, and I'll get those to the commission at the next meeting.
I'll say Commissioner Payne.
I am. Thank you very much.
I have a question. I'd like to see if, correct me if I'm wrong, in the old blue book, we had the 2030 plan. Am I correct?
No, it was a secondary book. It was a secondary binder.
Yeah. When I was on it last time, we had the 2030 in the back of the big blue book.
Yeah, they included it.
In the big one. Now, if you had got the smaller version like this, they came separate. So I have this book. And then I have the most up-to-date.
Right.
POC.
I agree with you, Mr. Chairman, that all the commissioners should have the updated copy of the 2030 plan.
Right. So if you could put that either separately or together.
Absolutely. Get you all the documents.
My closing remarks, thanks. I thank everybody for showing up. I know it's, we've got a lot to look forward to here and stuff, and I look forward to working with everybody in a positive way. Any nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Here, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's gonna be in city.